Fear is like one of those things we don't like to talk about, and yet it's always there, whispering in the background, telling us that we're too old to start again, too inexperienced to try something new, too visible if we speak up, or too invisible if we don't. I believed those voices before. We all have. But here's what I've learned. Most fears are storytellers, not truth tellers. They spin a dramatic plot, but the ending is always up to us. Today, we're going to talk about something that every single one of us faces, the dreaded F word, fear. And we'll uncover the fears that almost every woman faces, and most of them are flat out lying to us. This isn't about pretending fear doesn't exist. It's about learning to recognize its voice and challenge its story and taking our power back. Fear. Now, I know that word alone can make your shoulders get all tight, get your palms sweaty. Fear is sneaky. It can sound logical, even protective, like it's trying to keep us safe. It's like a monster under the bed. You can't see it, you don't know why it's there, and you don't know how to make it go away. And most of the time, that monster, that fear, is a liar with a very convincing voice. Let's walk through 6 of the most common fears that many of us face, and hopefully we'll see why most of them aren't nearly as powerful as they pretend to be. Think of today's podcast as a mix of truth-telling and a little bit of heart-to-heart conversation. So grab a coffee, get comfortable, and let's walk through these together. You might just realize fear's been exaggerating all along. Number 1, fear of being alone. Let's start with the big one, this fear of being alone. Maybe it's after a divorce, after kids leave home, or even after retirement. It's kind of like the fear of the unknown. The quiet in our house can feel heavy when we're alone. I get it. I've had those evenings when the silence in the house felt louder than the noise I could turn on. But here's what I learned. Being alone and being lonely are not the same thing. Solitude, when you stop fighting it, can become one of the most powerful teachers in your life. It's where you find your rhythm, your preferences, and your voice again. What if we just try to make peace with our own company? Then maybe we won't be afraid of anyone leaving again. That's the freedom hidden inside the fear. The moment we stop fearing being alone, fearing that solitude, we just might start finding ourselves. The fear of looking foolish. Oh, this one's a classic and it's sneaky. It shows up like perfectionism, procrastination, or even the constant "what will they think" loop that goes on inside of our heads. I'm guilty. Let me tell you the truth, I had to learn, or I'm still trying to learn, actually. Most people are too busy worrying about how they look to notice the so-called mistakes that we make. The spotlight effect we feel, it's just mostly in our heads. What if we give ourselves permission to look silly sometimes, to mess up sometimes, to not have it all together? Honestly, courage looks far better than perfectionism ever will. And every time we show up imperfectly, we show others that it's safe to do the same thing. If you're dwelling on something right now because you're scared to look foolish, I want you to ask yourself, what's scarier, trying and learning, or never knowing what could have been? Think about it. Number 3, the fear of starting over. Oh, this one hits home for so many of us. Starting over at any time of life can feel like standing on the edge of a cliff, wondering if the parachute still works. Maybe it's starting a new job, building a business, or exploring a new me after a long marriage. Reinvention sounds exciting until you're the one holding the map with no idea which way to go. But here's the truth. Every time we start again, we bring all of our experience with us. You're not starting from scratch. You're starting from wisdom. I like to remind myself that beginner isn't a downgrade. It's a reminder that we're still growing. Every chapter that brings uncertainty eventually becomes a story that we'll tell with pride. So if life's handing you a blank page, stop waiting for the right time to start writing again. Pick up the pen. Your story isn't finished yet. Start a new chapter in your book. Number 4, fear of failing. Failure gets way too much credit for being scary. But here's the thing. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of it. Every successful woman I know has a highlight reel built on a whole pile of things that didn't go as planned. The problem is, we were taught to see failure as proof that we weren't good enough, when in reality, it's evidence that we tried. Trying means you're alive, you're curious, and brave enough to take a swing. If we're not failing at something occasionally, we're probably not stretching ourselves. Remember that comfort zone we talked about in an earlier video? Every attempt, every try, even the ones that flop, they teach us what we need to adjust for the next time. So instead of asking, what if I fail? Start asking, what will I learn if I do? That's how you make fear your teacher instead of your jailer. Number 5, fear of aging. Let's talk about the mirror and the marketing industry that's been whispering nonsense into it for decades. The world says anti-aging. I say pro-living. Every wrinkle, every laugh line, every silver or white hair carries a story with it. Evidence that we've lived, we've loved, and we've endured. That's not something to erase. That's something to honor. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't take care of ourselves or enjoy feeling vibrant. Of course we can. But when we stop fighting the natural passage of time, something softens inside of us. We become less about fixing and more about flourishing. You've earned the right to take up space exactly as you are. The goal isn't to look younger. It's to feel fully alive at the age you are right now. Number 6, fear of being too much or not enough. Ah, yes, the twin fears that keep so many women small. Too much. Too loud, too opinionated, too ambitious. Not enough. Not pretty enough, not thin enough, not interesting enough. And we swing back and forth between them like a pendulum, trying to find the magical middle that makes everyone comfortable. But here's the truth. There's no middle that satisfies everyone. The people who matter, the ones who are meant to walk beside us, they want the real, unfiltered version of us. They don't want the watered-down version you use to make yourself more palatable. So what if this week we stop editing ourselves just a little? What if we say what we really think? What if we wear what we really love? And what if we laugh as loud as we want to? I promise, the world won't end, but our confidence just might begin. And really, that's what all of these fears have in common. They tell small stories that make us feel small. But the truth is, we've outgrown those stories. We just have to remind ourselves who's holding the pen. So here's what I hope you take away today. Fear isn't the enemy. It's just a storyteller with a very dramatic imagination. Most of the things we worry about never actually happen. You know that. And even when they do, we handle them far better than we ever give ourselves credit for. Every time we walk through fear, not around it, but through it, we grow stronger, clearer, more grounded in who we really are. So the next time that fear starts whispering, just smile and say, "Thanks for trying to protect me, but I've got this one." The monster under our bed gets quieter when we call it out, when we look it in the eye and we say, "I see you, but you don't get to drive anymore." If this conversation gave you a little courage or reminded you that you're not alone in feeling afraid, give this video a thumbs up, please, and share it with another person who just might need it today. And I'd love to hear from you. Which of these 6 fears shows up for you most often? And what helps you quiet them down? Let's talk about it in the comments. When we tell the truth about fear, it loses its power. Thanks for spending this time with me, my friend. Until next time, keep choosing courage, keep challenging the lies, and keep stepping forward, one brave moment at a time. Bye for now.